Morgan burst through the back door, auburn hair catching the October sunlight, hazel eyes wide with excitement. A cozy green sweater hung loose over worn jeans, and mud-caked sneakers left prints across the kitchen floor. "The mayor just announced it," came the breathless declaration. "They're canceling the Harvest Festival." Mom looked up from her laptop, pushing her glasses higher on her nose. "Canceling? But that's been a tradition for 50 years. Something about budget cuts and not enough volunteers." The words tumbled out fast. "But that means no pumpkin contest, no apple bobbing, no parade." Outside the window, maple trees blazed red and gold. The whole neighborhood had been preparing for weeks. Mr. Chen had grown the most very big pumpkins anyone had ever seen. Mrs. Rodriguez had been practicing her famous apple pie recipe. Even the Patel twins had been collecting leaves for their traditional leaf pile jumping contest. "Well," Mom said slowly, "maybe the town can't organize it, but that doesn't mean the neighborhood can't do something." That spark of an idea grew into a full flame by dinner time. Dad arrived home to find sketches scattered across the dining table, drawings of booths, games, and decorations made entirely from natural materials. "Look," the young organizer explained, pointing to each sketch. "We could use fallen branches for booth frames, pine cones and acorns for decorations, even make our own prizes from things we find outside." Dad picked up a drawing of a ring toss game made from twisted vines. "This is brilliant, and it wouldn't cost anything." "Nothing. Plus we'd be cleaning up the park at the same time. Mr. Kim always complains about all the branches after storms." The next morning, armed with canvas bags and enthusiasm, the mission began at Willowbrook Park. Fallen branches lay scattered like pickup sticks across the grass. Pine cones clustered beneath the evergreens like nature's party favors. "Hey, what are you doing?" Zara from next door stood watching, her little brother Theo clutching her hand. Both wore matching purple jackets that made them look like walking grapes. "Collecting supplies for a new kind of harvest festival. Want to help?" Theo's eyes grew round. "Can we really?" Soon they had a system. Theo gathered the smallest pine cones, baby ones, he called them. Zara sorted branches by size. Morgan worked on the bigger pieces, already seeing how they'd fit together. By noon, their collection had grown impressive. Other kids from the neighborhood had joined in, turning work into a treasure hunt. Marcus found oak leaves in perfect condition. Emma discovered a fallen bird's nest, empty and abandoned, that would make a beautiful centerpiece. Mrs. Chen appeared with a wagon and water bottles. "I heard about your project from Zara's mom. This is wonderful. You know, in my village growing up, we always made our celebrations from what nature provided." She showed them how to weave simple baskets from long grass and bendy twigs. "See? Nothing bought, nothing wasted." The group worked through the afternoon, bags filling with acorns, colorful leaves, interesting stones, and seed pods that rattled like maracas. The park looked cleaner than it had in months. "Morgan, this is amazing." Zara held up a particularly beautiful red maple leaf. "We're helping the park and making something special at the same time." That evening, the first planning meeting happened in the Chen's garage. Parents and kids crowded around, examining the natural treasures spread across tarps. "We could have a leaf pressing station," suggested Emma's mom. "Kids could make bookmarks to take home." "And pine cone animals," added Marcus. "My grandma taught me how to make hedgehogs and owls." Mr. Patel raised his hand. "I can build frames for booths using these branches. No nails needed, just rope and proper lashing." Mrs. Rodriguez clapped her hands. "Instead of plastic prizes, we could give away seed packets. I have hundreds from my garden." The excitement was contagious. Everyone had ideas. Someone suggested apple prints for decorating. Another mentioned cornhusker dolls. Even grumpy Mr. Wilson from the corner house offered his collection of interesting gourds. Over the next 2 weeks, Willowbrook neighborhood transformed into a workshop. Morgan became the unofficial coordinator, clipboard in hand, checking on each station's progress. The Patel family's front yard became branch sorting headquarters. They built frames that could be taken apart and stored for next year, no waste, completely reusable. In the Kim's kitchen, a production line of pinecone creatures took shape. Theo made an entire family of pinecone mice, complete with acorn cap hats. The garage at Morgan's house turned into Decoration Central. Leaf garlands hung from every surface. Painted acorns filled baskets. Even homework had to be done at the kitchen table because the usual spot was covered in craft supplies. "You know what's funny?" Dad said one evening, stringing dried orange slices. "This feels more like a real harvest celebration than the old festival ever did." He was right. Instead of buying everything from party stores, neighbors were creating together. Instead of throwing decorations away afterward, everything could go back to nature or be saved for next year. 3 days before the festival, a problem arose. The park pavilion they planned to use was suddenly unavailable. A broken water pipe had flooded the area. "Now what?" Zara slumped on the porch steps. "We can't have it without shelter. What if it rains?" Morgan stood quietly thinking. Then those hazel eyes lit up with the same spark from 3 weeks ago. What if we don't need a building? The new plan was even better. Instead of one central location, the festival would wind through the whole neighborhood like a treasure trail. Each house would host a different activity. Gardens would become magical spaces. The street itself would be the main pathway. Mr. Chen loved it. Like a progressive dinner, but with autumn activities. Even better, people who can't walk far can still participate from their own yards. The morning of the festival dawned crisp and golden. Morgan woke early, too excited to sleep. Outside the window, the neighborhood had transformed overnight. Branch archways marked each activity station. Leaf garlands connected house to house like nature's own party streamers. Mrs. Rodriguez had set up her apple pie station on her porch, the smell drawing people like magnets. "Ready?" Mom asked, adjusting the flower crown made of dried hydrangeas and twigs. The festival began at 10 o'clock sharp, with Mr. Wilson ringing an old brass bell. Families emerged from houses, following the trail marked by painted acorn signs. At the first stop, Marcus taught leaf printing. Kids pressed real leaves in paint, then onto canvas bags they could use for shopping. No plastic needed. The Chen's driveway hosted pinecone crafts. Theo proudly showed younger kids how to make mice families. "You can take them home and play with them forever," he explained seriously. "Not like plastic toys that break." Emma's backyard featured the ring toss made from twisted grapevines and willow branches. Prizes were seed packets and homemade treats wrapped in leaves. Morgan wandered through it all, clipboard forgotten, just watching the magic unfold. Neighbors who barely spoke were laughing together. Kids were teaching adults. Everyone was creating something from nothing. At the Patel station, the leaf pile jump had evolved into a leaf maze. "We raked every leaf in a 3-block radius," Mr. Patel announced proudly. "The yard crew won't have any work this week." Mrs. Kim had turned her garden into a fairy wonderland with twig furniture and acorn cap dishes. Little ones spent ages arranging pinecone families in the tiny scenes. The best moment came at the apple bobbing station. The mayor herself appeared, looking slightly embarrassed. "I heard about your festival," she said. "Had to come see for myself. This is incredible." She gestured around at the busy, happy scene. No vendor fees, no cleanup crews needed, no plastic waste, just community and creativity. "Want to try bobbing for apples?" offered Marcus's dad. The mayor laughed, rolled up her sleeves, and dunked her head in a barrel. She came up spluttering with an apple in her teeth, and everyone cheered. As the sun began to set, the festival wound down to its finale. Everyone gathered in the park's cleaned-up meadow for the harvest dance. Mr. Rodriguez played guitar while Mrs. Kim taught simple folk dances her grandmother had known. Morgan stood at the edge of the circle, watching faces glow in the setting sun. The park was cleaner than ever. The neighborhood was closer than ever, and not a single piece of plastic or store-bought decoration had been used. "Hey," Zara appeared at Morgan's elbow. "I heard the mayor talking to my mom. She wants to make this the official town festival next year. Said it's exactly what community should be doing." The dance circle opened up, hands reaching out to pull them. As feet stamped and voices rose in an old harvest song, leaves swirled around the dancers like nature's confetti. Later that evening, helping pack away the branch frames carefully labeled for next year, Dad asked, "So, festival organizer, what did you think?" Morgan looked around at neighbors still chatting, kids still playing with pinecone animals, gardens still magical in the moonlight. "I think we proved something important. The best celebrations don't come from stores. They come from working together and taking care of the place we live." Mom hugged those green sweatered shoulders. "And you know what else? The park director told me they've never seen the grounds so clean. You gave the town a festival and a cleanup crew all in one." Through the window, the last of the leaf gardens fluttered in the breeze. Tomorrow they finished taking them down, and everything would return to nature or storage. No trash bags full of plastic. No decorations heading to landfills. Just memories and the knowledge that next year would be even better. The Willowbrook Harvest Festival had become something new, a celebration that helped the earth instead of hurting it. And it had all started with one determined kid who saw a problem and decided to fix it with creativity, community, and care. As bedtime approached, Morgan made one last round of the neighborhood. The Chens were preserving the best leaves between wax paper. The Patels were already sketching plans for next year's maze. Mrs. Rodriguez was writing down all the natural craft ideas in a notebook to share. The festival was over, but its spirit lived on. In every saved branch, every planted seed, every neighbor who now knew every other neighbor's name. The neighborhood had discovered that the best way to celebrate the harvest season was to harvest community and plant seeds of environmental care that would grow for generations to come.